Kids Fantasy, Battle Between the Orcs and Elves, Kids Adventure Stories, written by Jeff Child, narrated by John H. Feskins. Introduction. Here is a short but powerful story of an epic war between orcs and elves. You will not be disappointed when you read about the main character, Sathrael, a warrior who knows the ancient arts of war and skilled with the sword. Together with his female friend and others, he seeks to restore peace in the land. However, along the way, he has to exchange his sword for another one, a better one. Along the way, he receives help from wizards and dwarfs, allies who aid him in his quest for the golden sword. Deepen your understanding of the fantasy world to escape into a fun and adventurous story. Chapter 1. Elves of the East. Sathrael is an elf, a warrior elf to be precise. He has been trained in his childhood, ready to stand guard and protect the elves' hideout whenever necessary. His father has made it clear that it is the duty of each elf to fight in case of an emergency. So far, an emergency hasn't taken place. The village of Grensel has never been under siege. The inhabitants have enjoyed the peaceful environment and the nature that surrounds them. Grensel is a quiet village in the corner of the mountain. Numerous deciduous trees surround it, making it almost impossible to find for an intruder or evildoer. Spies from hostile races have made attempts to locate the town, but have returned in frustration, as failures. No wonder the announcement of a possible war came as a shock. Sathrael is brave. He has taken on monsters from the Midlands before. On various occasions, the village acknowledged his valorous achievements and handed him magical items to use. One of such occasions was when a supply of diamonds was stolen by a traitorous parasite from the underworld. He was a little troll that lived under a bridge in that dreaded place, and he had decided to come out of his hiding place and take what he thought he could get away with. Well, Sathrael didn't think so. He pursued the sneaky thief all the way into the depths of the underworld and confronted his enemy with his sword and daring attitude. The troll was surprised when he learned that he had been discovered.
"Please don't kill me," the troll begged. "I am young and have so much to live for."
"Then give me back the elven diamonds," Sathrael said.
I don't have them anymore. I lost them on the way here."
"Liar! Tell me where they are, or I will let you have a nice little chat with my sword," Sathrael said. The troll insisted for a few minutes that he knew nothing about the whereabouts of the diamonds, but when Sathrael pointed the end of the sword near his throat, he confessed everything. "Now that you will admit what you've done," Sathrael said, "tell me where they are already. If you do, I will leave you alone to ponder your offenses."
"I sure will. Hold on a sec," he said.
In a sinister way, he smirked and then looked the other way. Sathrael didn't trust this troll. He held his sword in front of him, expecting the unexpected. The troll stepped back and put his hand on the ground. What was he doing? He said a few words in a foreign language.
"Shaira kanisha viviapesh."
Before Sathrael could do anything else, the ground began to shake. Sathrael jumped back and watched in awe as a creature from the fiery lava emerged and towered about 10 feet above him. The fire creature had 2 horns, a giant torso, and colossal hands on its muscled arms. Its skin color was black, and sharp spikes were coming out of its arms and shoulders. Its hollow and incisive-looking eyes were glowing, as if flames were devouring its soul. The monster growled and clenched his fist, causing a blaze to shoot up from its hand. Sathrael was eager to defeat this vile piece of underground scum, but he had learned that it is often better to wait for an attack and use their moves against them. So he waited and anticipated the monster's attack. The monster growled again and stormed at Sathrael. Sathrael leaped to the side and avoided the monstrous arms that swung at him completely. Missed! The monster turned around and looked even angrier than before. It was banging its fists against each other before shooting a fireball in Sathrael's direction. Whoosh! Sethrael ducked. "You gotta do better than that, ugly head," he yelled, taunting it.
Wah!
The monster exclaimed. Another charge at the elven hero was coming. The monster from the depths of the underworld looked at him, stepped back, and then ran forward with immense speed. Sethrael jumped up and landed on the monster's back. The monster banged against the wall, trying to get Sethrael off its back, but Sethrael held on tightly. It was tricky, but finally, with one hand holding on the monster's shoulders, he was able to free his other hand and hold his sword in the right position. Tsyak! Sethrael stabbed the monster through the head, who fell down abruptly and died instantly. The fall caused the earth to shake a little when it hit the ground. Sethrael jumped off, still filled with adrenaline from the intense fight scene, having a firm grip around the handle of the sword. "Now where did that deceitful troll go?" he mumbled. The troll had been watching from the corner of the cave, hoping the monster he summoned would defeat Sethrael. Full of determination, Sethrael walked to the troll, impatient to get what he was asking for in the first place. "Hand over the diamonds. Now!" he said impatiently.
Okay,
the troll said. It didn't take long before the troll pulled out the diamonds from one of his pockets and gave them to Sethrael, who kept his promise and spared his life, but ascertained him that if he would ever see him in Grenzel again, he would finish him off. Another brave elf in this peculiar village is Alicia. She has long hair and beautiful eyes, and although she is considered a beauty by many, she typically doesn't care much about outward appearance. Her strength isn't as impressive as Sethrael's, but her courage certainly matches his, as well as her accuracy in archery. Since she was little, she always wanted to become an archer. She created her first bow and arrow when she was 5 years old, and hasn't developed any passions that exceeded that one since. As a brave defender of the peace in her hometown, Alicia has learned an appropriate code of conduct, as well as an assertive attitude to help wherever a threat is detected. One example of such assertiveness was when an assassin entered the ruler's court. Sadly, the town of Grenzel hasn't always been free from crime, even when it comes down to its own peaceful citizens. And this was one of those cases that could have ended badly, had it not been for Alicia and her bows and arrows. It was on a seemingly normal night during the week. Alicia had just arrived in town from hunting in the forest. She was carrying a deer on her shoulders and was returning home to help prepare a meal. Her dad was waiting for her, but he would have to wait a little longer, seeing that her routine was interrupted. As she was walking on one of the village streets, she saw a strange figure climb up the Elven King's court tower. "What is that guy doing there?" she asked herself. "This looks rather unusual. It's not like you see someone climb up the tower every day. I have to find out what this is all about." She had been touring the castle before, so she knew a few back passageways, and she decided to follow the climber that way. When she arrived at the castle tower, she saw him sneaking into the elven leader's bedroom. He was wearing black and a mask to cover his identity. His cloak flowed through the air as he vanished into the room. "This can't be good," she thought. She hurried after him and entered the bedroom. There she saw the guy pull a knife and lift it up. "This is an assassin. He is going to kill the king," she thought. Swiftly but silently, she pulled her bow and fired an arrow at the assassin, which scraped the surface of his hand and made him drop his weapon. "Ah!" the assassin screamed in pain. "Huh? What? What's going on?" the elven leader said when he woke up. The assassin elbowed him on the head to knock him out and jumped out the window as fast as he could. "Oh, no, you don't," Alicia said, while running after him. She looked out the window, aimed, and shot another arrow. The arrow sped through the air and went through the assassin's cloak, pinning him to a wooden plank up against the castle wall. He wasn't going to go anywhere after that. Alicia had a satisfied smile on her face when she watched the assassin, who was trying to get unstuck by ripping his cloak apart, but it didn't do any good, since he just got tangled up in his cloak and was hanging a few feet above the ground. Later, Alicia helped the elven ruler wake up and arrest the guy for attempted murder. Her game, the deer she shot, remained in the same place, but what was even better was that the elven ruler donated some food storage items to her family. Alicia and Sethrael are friends. They have known each other since childhood, but they never got romantically involved. They played together, learned how to write and read together, and went to the same trainers to learn fighting skills. Most times they got a little too competitive, trying to show off or make sure they got the most praise from their teachers, trainers, or parents. When people asked them if they were dating, they always looked at each other and say, "Ew, of course not. Why would I want to date him or her?" And that's how it stays. They're friends, nothing more. Their families get along well, and they sometimes go on missions together or perform errands for the royal guards. But then there are also times they go alone, or when life just catches them off guard, forcing them to pull out their weapons to stop evil. They are happy as friends. They are proud of their learned skills and their gained knowledge, but they don't know the dooming fate that awaits them. Chapter 2: Orcs of the West. In the west of the lands, there lives a completely different group of creatures, orcs. These monstrous predators have some form of civilization, but are certainly on the rim of being wild beasts. They are an aggressive species, always trying to conquer other lands around them, never satisfied with what they have, and showing no mercy to their enemies. The city's name is Randrog, a filthy place with unfinished buildings, sloppy houses, and sketchy alleys you don't want to enter at night. The outskirts of the city represent the filthiest lucre the species has gained from robbing trespassers and common travelers. It is built on the foundation of theft goods and collected materials. Their leader is Borgruk, a gruesome orc who claims that nothing or nobody can scare him. He sometimes kills his servants if they don't do as they are told, and he surrounds himself with luxury and dark ornaments. The palace is a dreadful place, dreary and gloomy, with black towers and spikes standing out and penetrating the sky with their filthy appearance. Each room is heavily filled with skulls on the walls and on the furniture. The ruthless tyrant isn't happy, though. He wants more power. He has been planning it for a while now, after finding out where the humans live.
"You and you," he says. "Get the warlords and my highest-ranking officers together, now!"
"Yes, my liege," is the answer. The two servants run off all over the palace and inform the generals in the orc army about the meeting. It doesn't take long for these sinister orcs to get together and devise a plan to overcome the humans. When they arrive, a number of 13 orcs has gathered around a dusty table, ready to discuss their means of attack.
"Men of Randrog," the orc leader begins, "we have sent spies to the south, and they have reported an abundance in gold, jewels, and food storage. The only thing standing in our way is those filthy humans with their high and mighty culture. They deserve to be robbed, and they deserve to die. I suggest we think of a plan to obliterate these irrational idiots. I am open to your ideas."
"Storm in at night and take what we can," an orc general with a skull hat proposes. "Draw them out and sneak into the city behind their backs," another one says.
"Attack them with small forces and steal small items one at a time," an orc with a huge nose suggests.
"Surround them completely and make sure they have nowhere to go," is the last idea.
"Gentlemen," Borgruk says, "I think we have a winner. Let's prepare for war."
"Yeah!" the other orcs shout.
"Well, what are you still doing here?" Borgruk asks. "Get to work immediately."
At least they had a second or two of happiness. Now there is work to be done. Each orc leader separates to their own regiment and assembles their warriors. Divisions of archers, swordsmen, and even artillery get ready to march out of the citadel and organize an assault on the city of humans. It won't be long before their action plan will be executed. Chapter 3: Humans of the South. In the south of what is known territory to these elves and orcs is a city called Volisith, a stronghold for more than 10,000 people. And some may say there are bigger cities out there, but this one is comparatively large for the region it is in. The heart of the city is a busy square with numerous merchants coming from all over the country to sell their goods. Vendor shops are set up around it, as well as weekly markets and various underground trading centers only the locals know about. The humans are at peace with every other race, and their city is fortified by tall walls and holes for archers to take position and fend off potential enemies. There is a wizard. His name is Barloth, a wizard who knows the tricks of the trade. He hasn't learned anything beyond the simple supernatural, but he has a few tricks up his sleeve despite his old age. And although he isn't omnipotent, or else he would make himself younger with magic, he has been studying the art of sorcery for years. Now he is sitting under a rooftop, a little monument on the town square. He watches people come and go and observes their motions. It has been ages since he last saw an orc, but recent rumors have made him edgy, as if something bad is about to happen. He cannot prove it, so he remains where he is, but for some reason he feels like it would be better not to sleep tonight. He will stay on his bench on the town square, ready to intervene if anything or anyone will make an attempt to raid the city. It's in the air, a vague, evil atmosphere, like a prelude to the big bang of a forceful, noisy orchestra, a tragic song amongst the seemingly peaceful singing birds. That night he snacks on the bread he keeps in his knapsack, uneasy at first, but calmer when the evening falls. "Something is wrong," he says. "Something is very wrong, but I can't put my finger on it." The sun goes down. The moon is shining brightly. Every inhabiting citizen has gone to their quarters to lay to rest, except for Barloth. It's silent. Silent like a calm before the storm. The deadly silence is almost creepy, as if all animals have ceased to express themselves, and all the rustle and bustle of the city has been muted by the oncoming horrors. It happens in an instant, somewhere after 2 a.m. The war cries of ferocious beasts rip the air and catch the archers on the city walls off guard. Roar! Several thousands of orcs storm the barricade and break the city gate within minutes. Bam! The gate falls. The orcs run into the streets like mad dogs. Their faces are painted with red stripes and demonic symbols to scare off their victims. The archers are shooting to the best of their ability, but they are outnumbered tremendously. Giant orcs with clubs, axes, bows, and swords start breaking barrels, houses, and windows. Some of them break into the homes of innocents and are looting every inch of inside territory. Carts are riding into the city, pushed by several orcs, to pile up the items they can find. Occasionally, a common citizen is attacked and killed, but the orcs are mostly there for the yield. Food, gold, iron, wood, and other valuables are loaded on the carts. Barloth heads to the city entrance and zaps a few orcs with his magic scepter. The lightning bolts are gathered from space into his ancient weapon.
"Get the wizard!"
one of the orcs growls when he sees Barloth. 3 orcs dash forward to attack Barloth, who defends himself with his few fighting techniques.
"Come here, old man. We'll take it easy on you,"
a creepy orc says as he approaches Barloth. "Stay back," Barloth yells. "I will make you burn like fire if you take one more step." But before he can say another word, an orc with a club bashes his skull and causes him to faint.
"He's out,"
the orc says. The others laugh and continue looting, and that is the last thing he hears them say. Chapter 4. Dwarfs of the North. Sethrael and Alicia are in transit to the woods in the south, where they heard is much game to find. They are armed like any warrior would be when hunting, but on their way there, they decide to stop in the human city, Volisith. "It's been a while since we were there, hasn't it?" Alicia says. "Yes, it has," Sethrael answers. It will be fun to see some of those crazy merchants and square entertainers, too. And if I remember it right, the food in the taverns is to die for. Speaking of dying, Alicia adds when she looks at the city walls, what happened here? They both stare at the burning walls of the city and panicking people walking in and out, helping to extinguish the fire and organize their leftover possessions. As they walk a little closer, they see wounded civilians and crying children. Homes are being repaired, while others are left desolate by hopeless families. Somebody came and attacked the city, Sethrael says. It makes me wonder who. They are at the city gate, or at least what's left of it, after which they approach the town square. Meanwhile, they observe the damage done by the hostile orcs and change their mission from hunting to helping out. Greetings, young elves, Barloth says. What you see here is something I tried to prevent but couldn't, and your aid is much appreciated. Who did this? Alicia asks. It was the orcs from the east. They barged in here in the middle of the night. I kind of felt it coming, but clearly underestimated their numbers. It is a tragedy, and I think they will attack again sometime soon. This time they just came fast and hard. They filled up their wagons and carts and left us alone, but next time I can see a possibility of extermination. We have to get ready for war. That sounds pretty serious. What is your plan? The name is Barloth. I am Sethrael, and this is my friend Alicia, Sethrael says. Pleased to meet you. Now as for our plan, I don't think we can do this alone. We need the help of other races, but we have to convince them to get involved. Are you willing to come with me? Well, as for the elves, I am sure we only have to ask. There are brave warriors in our hometown who would give their lives to defend honor and peace, Sethrael says. What of the dwarfs, then? Alicia asks. Exactly, Barloth says as he points at her. That may be the hardest part. We'll offer them something in return, like a free trade for a small time period or something, Sethrael says. We'll figure it out along the way, the old wizard agrees. Let's not linger here. We have to get there, and fast. The trio leaves immediately. They don't stop for much, and even increase their pace the second day. Along their way are green hills and dark forests, rocky mountain areas and cliffs. On the way there, they stop at the elven city and get their permission to raise an army. It's an easy deal. Even the elven leader knows that. When they leave, the entire city is making preparations for war. They cross a river and walk around a lake. It's farther than it looks on the map, but within a few days they arrive at what they perceive to be dwarf territory.
Hold it right there,
they suddenly hear. From every corner of the gorge they are traveling through, dwarfs with axes and hammers appear, ordering them to stop. Some of them step forward and stand in front of the three travelers.
What is the purpose of your visit?
A small dwarf with a shiny helmet, big muscles, and a long red beard asks. We seek to get the help from your superior, the leader of these dwarfs, Barloth says.
Oh, no problem. What for?
To help us fight against orcs, Barloth answers.
Orcs, eh? We haven't seen those in years. Come on, what is the real reason? And what is going on with the elves next to you? Why are they here?
Can we speak to your superior or not? Alicia insists.
Hey there, she-elf. Know your place. We will take you to our leader, but we will have to bind you.
Sure, they agree. A fellow dwarf cuffs them and leads the way into the mines they were approaching. 10 or 12 more dwarfs walk behind them, telling them to walk faster. As they enter the mines, they are amazed at the sight of the hundreds of dwarfs working in them. There are platforms going up and down to transport rocks, dwarfs walking back and forth with heavy mining gear and jewelry. It looks like they are rich, like the minerals and stones they find are abundant.
Wait here,
the same dwarf with the red beard commands. After a few minutes, he comes back and says,
Geraint will see you now.
Chapter 5. The Forge. The dwarf king looks more like a warrior. He has a big beard and 2 pickaxes in his hands, which he uses to play around a little and scrape the surface off the uneven floor in front of his throne. The helmet on his head is made of pure steel, showing the most expensive and rare material of the miner's findings. He leans over and takes a good look at the 3 travelers. "So you've come to get our help, eh? And what's in it for us?"
"Well, if you don't help us," Barloth begins, "you may be the next victim of their attacks. Alone we are vulnerable, but together we can raise a greater army than that of the Orcs. It's just a matter of numbers. We need you so we can combine forces."
"Sounds all right," Geraint says. "And what of the Elves?" "We already asked the Grenzel to get ready and aid us with their troops," Sethrael says, "and they are getting ready as we speak." "Well, I don't see why not. But what do we get as a reward, besides the fact that we won't be the next victims? I mean, if I want to convince my servants to join me in a war, you've got to come up with something appealing." "Food," Alicia says. "We will have a feast with roasted swine, grapes, and lots of good drinks. I will personally help cook the dinner, and we'll have fun and dancing and music. How does that sound?"
"Now that, my young lady, sounds like a good enough reason to go to war," Geraint says with a smile. "You can release these good lads from their cuffs now," he says as he turns to another dwarf next to him. The hands of the 3 are loosed. "Yes, a feast sounds like a great idea," the Dwarf King repeats. Barloth and Sethrael raise their eyebrows. They are a little surprised by the king's party attitude, and wonder if these dwarfs take anything seriously in life. Alicia looks at the 2 dumbfounded individuals and lifts the left corner of her mouth and her left eyebrow simultaneously, as if she were to say, "See, I know how to handle men." The wizard and elven warrior roll their eyes and continue watching what the king is doing. "Come follow me," Geraint finally says. He leads them into another part of the mine. It's even bigger than the one they passed through, with hundreds of mine workers melting metal and cooling it. "This is the forge," the king says as he points to the right. "Here some of the best blacksmiths in the entire region are working together." Chapter 6. Weapons of Gold. Geraint continues, "I am telling you, men, you need golden weapons to have an armor-piercing effect on your opponents. We get the gold from down there, from the deep core of the planet. After that, we melt them and shape them into weapons. These are the most efficient weapons you can have, blades, axes, and arrows of gold." "Most impressive,"
Barloth says. "Aren't those a little heavy to carry?" Sethrael asks. Good question. That's the beauty of it," the king says. "They are made of an alloy, iron, gold, and a few other metals mixed together. If you don't believe me, hold this sword for a second." A dwarf in blacksmith clothes and a practical, sober look in his eyes walks over and hands Sethrael a golden sword. Sethrael moves it around and swings it through the air. What did I tell you, boy? Light as a feather, eh?" the dwarf says. "You're right, it's easy to wield. I love it." Alicia makes sure she tries the golden bow and arrows. They all explore the nifty handicraft of the skilled dwarfs for a few minutes.
"How many of these do you have?"
Barloth asks. Thousands. You don't have to worry about that. Now let's just set up a time and place to meet before we storm these blasted orcs."
"Sounds like a good idea."
Chapter 7. Clash of Races. It is a beautiful morning. Butterflies flutter around and birds sing a lovely song. The grass is green, the flowers are lovely. The sky is blue and the soft sound of crickets echoes through the air, combined with the rustling of leaves and a serene gush of wind. Roar! The war cry interrupts the peaceful scenery like an explosion. Elves, humans, and dwarfs have armed their best men to defend their kingdoms and rid themselves of the violent orcs. The men are nervous, but the leaders motivate them with speeches that instill courage in the soldiers. It's their time to invade their city. It's their time to attack, to show what they're made of. It's payback time! The Orc city has numerous black walls with eerie-looking spikes and skulls that try to put fear into the hearts of their invaders. But the men of the elven, dwarf, and human cities are determined to fight for their lives. They go forward as one, holding up their shields to block the fiery darts of their adversaries. Every so often a man falls, dies for his country. But with the protection their shields and armor give them, they have the advantage. "Get the bull! Ram through the front gate!" one of the human commanders shouts. Bang! 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 It takes a while, and meanwhile they are being shot at. Sethrael, Barloth, and Alicia are in the ranks. Alicia is shooting golden arrows at the orcs, which kill them instantly with every hit. Sethrael is helping the men push the bull forward, and Barloth is shooting lightning bolts at the archers on the towers. The bull pushes through the gate and the men storm in. Sporadic sword fights and other one-on-one battles are prevalent in the courtyard. Every warrior is contributing to the chaos. Orcs are slaying humans, elves are killing orcs, dwarfs are dashing at orcs with their axes and clubs. Golden weapons reflect the light in every dimension. This is war, nothing less. "Have you seen the orc leader yet?" Sethrael asks Alicia. "Hold on," Alicia says as she shoots another arrow. "What did you say?" "I asked if you have seen the orc leader yet." "No, but I am sure that is the tower where he resides," she says as she points to one of the towers. "Why, because it's bigger and higher?" Sethrael asks as he stabs another orc. "Yes, and because of the symbols on the walls. Something tells me he is watching the fight from over there." "Then let's go to him. Forget this fight. We need to go after the source." "I completely agree." Together they sneak out of the battle scene and enter the door in the high tower. They go up the winding staircase and arrive at a hallway. The hallway looks dark and only a few torches are lit up. 10 doors are on each side of the hallway, making it difficult to decide where to go. However, one door in the hallway is bigger than all the others. "I bet you he is behind that door," Sethrael says. "Sure seems like it," Alicia says. They tiptoe to the door, hoping not to alarm any guards. It's completely empty, which makes them wonder if they are even at the right place. "Something is wrong. It's too quiet," Sethrael says. "Do you think it's a trap?" "I don't know, but how would they know we were coming anyway? Still..." They open the door and go inside. In front of them stands the giant orc leader, Borgruk, with his back towards them. He moves when he hears them coming.
"Welcome, strangers," he says. "I have been expecting you."
"How did you know we were coming?" Sethrael asks.
"I didn't know you were coming. I only knew that someone would come. I figured at least one of you would be smart enough to come after me, the leader of the pack. So here I am, ready to fight you. Let's see if you have it in you to beat me," he says as he turns around.
Alicia stretches her bow. "Take one step and I will shoot you in the forehead," she says.
"Ha ha ha ha," the orc leader laughs. "Silly girl, go ahead and try."
Without hesitation, Alicia shoots an arrow at Borgruk, but Borgruk steps aside, avoiding the arrow completely. Another arrow, missed. Another, missed again.
"See," the big orc says, "I am simply too quick for one opponent."
"Well, let's see how well you do against two," Sethrael says as he storms at the orc leader. The two slash and stab, crossing blades and almost hitting each other every time. It seems like they are a fair match. But since Sethrael is not alone, the orc leader has to avoid the golden arrows Alicia is shooting at him. He steps back and gets shot in the leg.
"Ah!"
he screams. Another attack at Sethrael, but the young elf counters his attacks, until... Cling!
"What?"
the orc says, surprised.
"How is this possible?"
All three look at the giant sword the orc is holding. It has broken in two, cut exactly in the middle by the golden sword in Sethrael's hands.
"You devilish little elves! How dare you take on me, the ultimate ruler of this world? You will pay for this.
I don't think so, Alicia says, as she squints her eyes and shoots an arrow straight through the orc's eyes. Borgruk falls backward, dead as can be. Chapter 8. Victory. After the duel with the orc leader in the tower, the two elves head down and join the rest of the fight in the courtyard. They slay a few orcs, but most of the battle is already over. Some orcs lie dead on the ground, and many more have been captured by the three allied races. The captured orcs are on the floor, kneeling with their hands behind their heads. "So what shall we do with these little monsters?" Geraint asks. Sethrael looks at him with an awkward face, realizing that this small dwarf just called these giant orcs little. "I say we banish them from these lands," the elven leader suggests. "Good idea. Now how about the feast, eh?" Geraint asks. "Feast? What feast?" You mean they didn't tell you?" Geraint asks. "I have no idea what you're talking about," the elf leader says. Sethrael and Alicia are gone. They snuck out when they heard them talk about the promise they made, but failed to inform the humans and elves about. "Well, I guess we can have our own feast," Geraint says. "Who is going to join me?" The end. This has been Kids Fantasy, Battle Between the Orcs and Elves, Kids Adventure Stories. Written by Jeff Child. Narrated by John H. Feskins. Copyright 2017 by Jeff Child. Production copyright 2017 by Jeff Child.